She walked out on him and their 5 kids. 10 years vanished like smoke. Then suddenly she was back. And what she saw, it broke her. Stay with this story, you won't believe what he built without her. And before we dive in, drop your city in the comments. We'd love to know where you're watching from. Malik Carter was a man built on family. Not perfect, never claimed to be. But he showed up. Every day. And for a long time he thought that counted for something. Until one morning he rolled out of bed, and she was gone. No goodbye. No warning. Just a folded note on the kitchen counter. 7 words that cut like a blade. I'm sorry. I can't do this anymore. She didn't just leave him. She left all of them. 5 kids, Noah, Caleb, Nina, and the 2 youngest barely old enough to speak. One still in diapers. The other just learning how to tie her shoes. The silence in that house. It wasn't peaceful. It was sharp. Heavy. The kids asked questions he had no answers for. Where's mommy? Did we make her mad? He choked back his truth and gave them something softer. She just needs some time. She still loves you. She'll be back. But days passed. Then weeks. Then months. And Vanessa never came back. What followed was pure survival. Malik dropped one of his 2 jobs. Daycare costs swallowed his paycheck whole. Sleep became a luxury. Dinners got burned. Permission slips forgotten. But somehow they made it. His day started at 5 a.m., before the world even stirred. Coffee in hand, always the same chipped mug Vanessa once adored. Funny, how it stopped reminding him of her. And started reminding him what he was fighting for. By 6:30 the quiet was gone. Pancakes sizzling. Kids bickering over bathroom turns. Nina crying over a missing sock. And through it all, Malik stood strong. He never got to finish his coffee, not once. But the sound of their laughter, when it finally came, made the bitterness worth it. At the construction site, surrounded by steel and sweat, Malik found his strange kind of sanctuary. The grinding tools, the roaring machines, they numbed the noise in his head. His supervisor, Reggie, used to shake his head in disbelief. 5 kids and you're still upright? Malik would just grin. No one saw him break down in his truck during lunch, silent tears falling as he stared at old family photos. Noah, his firstborn, became his shadow, his anchor. Too young to be so responsible, yet never flinching. Noah stirred pots, tied shoes, broke up sibling squabbles. He never said a word of complaint. But Malik saw it, the weight in his eyes, the childhood slipping away. There were nights when Malik collapsed on the couch, too tired to think. Nights when bills piled up and hope felt thin. When he sat alone at school meetings, wishing someone else could just share the burden. But every time Nina wrapped her little arms around his waist and whispered, "I love you, Daddy," something inside him lit up again. And so he kept going. He missed out on milestones, weddings, birthdays, job promotions. While others climbed the corporate ladder, he was building something different. A home. A safe place. While his friends made PowerPoints, he held tiny hands at drop-offs and wiped away bedtime tears. Then, 10 years after Vanessa vanished, everything shifted again. It started like any other Thursday. Malik came home, kicked off his boots, and began sifting through the usual mess: bills, junk mail, school flyers. And then he saw it. A letter. No return address, but the handwriting stopped him cold. Vanessa. His heart stuttered. His breath caught halfway. 10 years. 10 birthdays. 10 Christmas mornings. 10 first days of school. All lived without her. And now, out of nowhere, this. He didn't tear it open. Not yet. He just stared, frozen, as the familiar chaos of his kids filled the kitchen behind him. Laughing, teasing, arguing over the last slice of pizza. Everything he built, now threatened by the weight of 7 handwritten words. The letter remained sealed. 4 days. Tucked inside his jacket pocket. Close enough to haunt him, far enough to pretend it didn't exist. At work, it pressed against his chest like a secret. Every time he reached down to hoist a beam or grab a wrench, he felt it. He'd think about reading it, then push it away. Not yet. Then, another twist. Late Friday, Reggie waved him into the site office. Malik closed the door, he said, grinning. Malik stepped in, wiping dust from his hands, a nervous edge in his breath. "We've been watching you a long time," Reggie began. Solid. Reliable. Quiet strength. Then came the moment. "We're offering you the lead foreman position." Malik froze, blinking, stunned. The promotion. More money, enough to finally send Noah to college, fix Caleb's crooked smile with braces, maybe even trade in that old, wheezing van. It was the kind of offer he used to dream about during nights when the lights almost went out. But Reggie wasn't done. "There's a catch," he said. "Longer hours. Some weekends. A few overnights. More meetings. More weight on your shoulders." Malik nodded slowly. He knew exactly what that meant. Fewer dinners at home. More empty seats at school events. And more pressure on Noah to hold things down, again. He didn't answer right away. That night, when the house was finally still, he sat across from Noah at the kitchen table. The others were already asleep. Lenina's stuffed bear lay abandoned on the couch, its button eye glinting under the dim light. "I got offered a promotion today," Malik said softly, watching his eldest. Noah's eyes lit up. "That's amazing, right?" "It is," Malik replied. "But it also means I won't be around as much." Noah paused. Then came a quiet, steady smile. "We'll figure it out, Dad. You always do." Spoken with certainty. But Malik caught the strain behind it. Noah had been carrying this family too. For just as long. Later that night, alone in his room, Malik finally pulled the letter from his jacket. His hands trembled as he opened it. It read like a confession. Vanessa admitted she'd panicked. That the pressure had swallowed her whole. That walking out wasn't part of any plan. It was written in desperation. She spoke of therapy, of rediscovering faith, of trying to rebuild what she'd lost. But then came the part that truly mattered. "I want to see the kids. I've changed. I want to be in their lives again. If you can forgive me, maybe they can too." Malik gripped the page, the edges crinkling beneath his fingers. Forgiveness? For the birthdays that came and went without her. For the nights Nina woke up screaming, calling for a mother who never answered. For the silent tears Noah wiped away in the dark. For the embarrassment Caleb felt when classmates asked why his mom never showed up to school plays. She wanted a second chance but never once asked what her absence had cost them. Malik folded the letter neatly and placed it on the table. He couldn't make this decision alone. Not this time. His kids had earned the right to know, and even more, the right to choose. Still, something inside him had already shifted. And whatever came next, he knew one thing. He wouldn't be ruled by emotion. Not now. For 10 long years he had protected them. And that wasn't going to change. The letter stayed on the dining table for 2 days, untouched, yet never ignored. Noah's eyes lingered on it every time he walked by. Caleb asked once, "Is that something important?" Malik answered gently, "Yes, but not yet." He waited for the right moment. Not when the dishwasher was broken. Not when Lena had a fever. Not when exhaustion blurred his thoughts. Then came Sunday. Dinner was calm. Lenina was quietly tracing stars into her mashed potatoes. Caleb chatted about a science project. The littlest two burst into laughter over a knocked-over juice cup. And that's when Malik finally decided it was time to talk. Malik didn't say much at first. Once the dishes were cleared and the kitchen noise faded, he remained in his seat. "Kids," he began, his tone calm but heavy, "there's something important I need to talk to you about." Noah stiffened immediately. Without a word, Malik reached for the envelope. He held it up. "This arrived last week. It's from your mom." Silence gripped the room. No movement. No sound. Just stillness. "She says she wants to see you. Says she's changed. Says she's sorry." He didn't dress it up. He didn't hide behind soft words. He read it aloud. Every sentence. Every line. His voice stayed strong but his fingers trembled against the paper. When he looked up, Noah's face had drained of color. Their jaw tightened. "Why now?" The question came cold and sharp. "Why not 10 years ago when we needed her most?" Caleb stared down at the table, brow drawn in confusion. "Is she really coming back?" he whispered. The younger two stayed quiet. Nina curled deeper into her seat, as if wishing she could disappear into the cushion. Malik nodded slowly. "She's reached out. But nothing's decided. I wanted you all to hear it from me. Because this isn't just about me. It's about all of us. We're not some hotel she can just walk back into," Noah snapped. The words cut deep and no one dared respond. That night, Malik found Noah in the hallway. Frozen in front of a framed photo, 5 years old. All 6 of them in matching holiday pajamas, smiles full of hope that had long since faded. She wasn't there, Noah said softly. I know, Malik replied, voice low. I don't even remember what her voice sounds like anymore. Malik had no words. So he simply stood beside them in quiet solidarity. The days that followed felt off-kilter. Nina cried at school, unable to explain why. Caleb asked the same questions over and over, ones Malik had no answers for. Even the youngest two, normally bubbling with laughter, moved through the house like shadows. Vanessa's letter had become a presence of its own. Heavy. Unspoken. Like a storm cloud suspended above their heads. Then one night, while tucking Nina into bed, she looked up and whispered, "Does Mommy still love us?" His chest ached. "I think she does," he said gently. "But love isn't always enough." Nina blinked at him. "Are you going to let her come back?" "I don't know," he said honestly. "But I promise, I won't do anything without you." And he meant it. 10 years of carrying this family on his back, he wouldn't let a letter unravel everything. The house grew heavier by the day. Noah barely spoke. Caleb couldn't sit still. And Nina, who had long outgrown nightmares, quietly slipped into Malik's bed at night, without saying a word. Even the air between them felt uncertain. At work, Malik tried to stay sharp, but dropped tools, misread plans, and caught himself lost in thought too many times. Reggie noticed. He pulled him aside. "You good?" he asked gently. After a pause, Malik exhaled and said it out loud for the first time. "Their mom reached out. After 10 years, says she wants back in." Reggie raised an eyebrow. 10 years? And now she wants something? "I don't even know what she wants," Malik admitted. "I'm still trying to make sense of it." Reggie didn't pry. He just gave one simple, quiet piece of advice. "Whatever you do, protect your peace." That night, Malik sat alone at the kitchen table again, Vanessa's letter in front of him. The words were the same. But the weight they carried? Heavier than ever. The next morning Malik made the call. He sat in the lawyer's office, laying it all out, Vanessa's sudden disappearance, the letter, the strain it had put on all of them. The lawyer didn't sugarcoat it. "You've had full custody for 10 years. She has no legal claim, unless a judge decides otherwise. But if she pushes, be ready." That was all Malik needed. Back home, Noah was already ahead of him. "I found her," they said, sliding a phone across the table. Malik leaned in. There she was, Vanessa, laughing in pictures with unfamiliar faces. But the captions told another story. Struggling to rebuild. Please help. A GoFundMe titled, "Starting Over After Loss." "She's not coming back for us," Noah said quietly. "She's coming back because she's drowning." Malik clenched his jaw, staring at the screen. This wasn't about remorse. This was about survival. The next day he hired a private investigator. "I want everything," he said. "No guesswork. No assumptions. Just the truth." The investigator nodded. "You'll have it." That evening, Caleb came to him, eyes full of worry. "Dad, if she wants to take us, can she?" "No," Malik said firmly. "But what if she tries?" He knelt down, met his eyes. "She left. I didn't. And I won't let anyone take away what we've built." He meant every word. Later that night, he stood in the hallway watching over the people he fought for. Noah still studying under a dim lamp. Caleb tangled in the sheets. Nina holding tight to her bear. They were his everything. And now that Vanessa wanted back in, he'd do whatever it took to protect what they had. The call came on a quiet Thursday. A number he didn't recognize. Something in his gut told him to pick up. He answered, and the voice on the other end made his chest tighten. "Malik, it's me. Vanessa." Her tone wasn't apologetic. It was urgent, shaky. "I just want to see them. One meeting. That's all. No explanation. No regret. Only desperation." Malik didn't answer right away. He let the silence stretch, her words hanging like fog between them. Then finally he spoke, calm, firm. "If they don't want to see you, that's where it ends. No pressure. No surprises." There was a pause on her end. Then a quiet, "Okay." He chose the meeting place himself, a public park. Familiar. Neutral. Open enough for space if anyone needed to walk away. When Malik told the kids, Noah barely reacted. Just nodded, jaw tight. Caleb asked what everyone else was thinking. "Do we have to go?" "No," Malik said simply. "This is your choice. No one's forcing you." still they all agreed. They needed to see her, to understand. The day arrived under a sky that felt just right. Gray and heavy, the kind of cold that settles into your bones. Malik stood near the duck pond, all 5 kids beside him. When Vanessa showed up, she looked like a shadow of the woman who had walked out a decade ago. Hair pulled back. A thin coat that didn't fight the chill. Older. One. Empty around the edges. She walked toward them slowly, her eyes locked on the kids. "I've missed you all," she said, her voice cracking. No one moved. Noah folded his arms across his chest. Caleb stared at his shoes. Nina clung to Malik's hand, half hidden behind his leg. Vanessa kept speaking, words about being lost, about healing, about how hard it had all been. But none of it landed. It was like she was speaking across a canyon. And the bridge had never been rebuilt. Her words didn't sink in. They slid off like rain hitting a rooftop, too late, too little. Then Noah took a step forward. "What do you want from us now?" they asked, voice calm but unflinching. There was no anger, just truth. Vanessa opened her mouth, but no answer came. The meeting didn't stretch on. No embraces. No tears. Only a dense silence, broken now and then by the soft quacking from the pond. As they turned to go, Vanessa whispered, "I just hope you'll give me a chance." No one looked back. No one replied. The drive home was wrapped in stillness. No arguing. No one asked to play music. The silence said everything. That night, Malik sat on the edge of his bed, shoulders heavy. Noah appeared in the doorway. "She didn't even ask how we were," they said flatly. Malik nodded. "I know. And I'm proud of you. Every single one of you. Because whatever Vanessa had hoped to find, this wasn't it. These weren't the children she had walked away from. And this time they wouldn't shatter so easily." The silence lingered. At dinner, her name didn't come up. But it hung in the air anyway, between bites, between glances. Even Nina, normally bursting with curiosity, said nothing. Noah scrolled quietly on their phone, eyes distant. "She looked like she needed something," they muttered. "Not like someone who came back for love." Malik said nothing, because deep down, a part of him had begun to believe it too. 3 days later, the phone rang. It was the private investigator. "I found something," the man said. "You'll want to sit down." Malik tensed, bracing for impact as the truth unfolded. Vanessa was drowning in debt, maxed out credit cards, pending lawsuits, and an eviction notice filed just 6 weeks ago. She'd bounced from job to job, none lasting longer than a year. And the GoFundMe Noah had found? Real, and barely keeping her above water. But that wasn't the hardest part. "She's been dropping your name," the investigator continued, "to friends on forums. She's made it clear, reconnecting with the kids isn't about love. It's about survival." Malik leaned back, phone still pressed to his ear, the knot in his chest unraveling into something colder, clarity. This wasn't a second chance. It was a lifeline, hers, not theirs. That evening he called the kids to the table. The room was quiet, tension lingering like a breath held too long. Malik laid the report down, open for them to see. "I want you to know the truth," he said gently. "No secrets. No pretending." Noah read in silence. Caleb flipped through the pages, his eyes widening with each line. The younger ones leaned close, pressing against Malik's side. "She's in trouble," Noah murmured. "Yes," Malik replied. "But not for the reasons she gave." Nina looked up, her voice barely a whisper. "So, she's not back because she loves us?" Malik wrapped his arm around her. "No, sweetheart. She came back because she needed something. But this time we don't owe her anything." The room went still. No one said another word. The truth had landed, heavy and undeniable. Vanessa hadn't come back for forgiveness. She came looking for rescue. And Malik, he'd already made his choice. That night, once the house had quieted and the kids were tucked into bed, Malik stepped into his room, opened the top drawer of his desk, and pulled out a thick envelope. It had remained sealed for nearly 3 years. A future he had been building in silence, patiently, deliberately. Inside were documents, signed, notarized, prepared with care. The next evening he called them all back to the table. This time he wasn't sharing questions. He had answers. "I've been holding on to this," he said, placing the envelope on the table. "Waiting for the right moment." Noah raised an eyebrow, curiosity already stirring. Caleb leaned in as Malik slowly opened the envelope, revealing documents stamped and signed. "I've been saving," Malik said. "Investing. Planning, not just for college or emergencies but for your future. For your security." He paused. "I also worked with a lawyer, to make sure none of you could ever be taken from me." Noah's brow furrowed. "What do you mean?" Malik met their eyes. "I legally adopted all 5 of you." Silence. Caleb blinked. Nina's mouth dropped open. The weight of it hit them all at once. Not just paperwork, but proof that they were his, fully, and even the youngest 2 sat frozen, sensing something sacred in the room. Malik looked around the table, his voice steady. "I wanted to make it official. No loopholes. No surprises. No one can challenge this. Not now. Not ever." He glanced at each of them. "You're mine, by law, by heart, by every measure that counts." Noah's throat tightened. "You did all that, without telling us?" Malik offered a soft smile. "Because love isn't always loud. Sometimes it works quietly in the background, doing everything it can to keep you safe, whether you see it or not." Caleb's voice wavered. "You didn't have to, but you still did." "I had to," Malik replied, eyes full, "because you're my family. And I was never going to let anyone take that from us. Not again." Tears fell, unguarded and real. Nina climbed into his lap, holding him tightly. Noah reached across the table and took his hand. That moment didn't need a soundtrack. It didn't need a spotlight. It was the kind of peace they hadn't felt in a decade. Certainty. Not spoken but felt. Lived. Proven. In the weeks that followed, peace returned to the Miller home. Noah toured colleges. Caleb made the soccer team. Nina laced up her shoes for dance class again. The younger 2 filled the rooms with laughter and noise and life. For the first time in years, their future didn't feel fragile. They could dream and not be afraid. One evening, Malik pulled out the final stack of paperwork. Every safeguard filed. Adoption complete. Finances secure. Their future protected. His quiet promise had become law. Then a letter came. A familiar scrawl on the envelope. "Vanessa." It was short. Apologetic. Honest. She admitted it, she had come back out of need, not love. She said she understood now. And that she wouldn't reach out again. Malik read it once. Then tucked it away. He didn't write back. Through a mutual friend, Malik eventually heard where she'd gone. Vanessa had relocated, joined a support program and taken a modest job, trying at last to rebuild on her own. It was done. The door she once left cracked open, had quietly closed for good. At home the weight lifted. Laughter returned. Movie nights came back. The silence that once loomed was replaced by warmth, by joy, by normal. One evening, as Noah stood in the kitchen, they looked at Malik and said, "You saved us." He shook his head, calm and certain. "No," he said. "We saved each other." And they did. Together they kept moving, forward, stronger, steadier, unshaken. Because this wasn't the family Vanessa abandoned. This was the family Malik built. He didn't just raise 5 kids on his own. He built a life. A foundation. Brick by brick, through pain, through quiet sacrifice and unwavering love. He never needed applause. He just needed to see them safe. Whole. Free. And in the end, Malik gave them what their mother never could. Security without question. And love without limits. Now let me ask you, what would you do if someone from your past reappeared after years of silence, asking for a second chance? Would you open the door, or protect the peace you've built? Tell us in the comments. Did this story move you, inspire you, or remind you of the strength that holds families together? If it did, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more powerful, unforgettable stories just like this one. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in our next video.